that quoted President Truman's press secretary, Charles Ross, as saying that President Truman has no knowledge of any secret project by this government that would give substance to the existence of such objects. Ross also said that both the Air Force and the Navy deny that such objects.
While our government's official position is not to speculate on this subject, we can choose to let our minds explore other possibilities, to use our imaginations. For if we consider that astroscientists agree on one point, that the possibility of life elsewhere is not only quite probable, some feel it is there without a doubt. Let us suppose then that these objects are real space vehicles, extraterrestrial in origin, and not an illusion of the mind.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.
What's up? Welcome, everyone, to Somewhere in the Live Stream. I am your host, Ryan Sprag, and it is so good to be back and to see all of the regulars here. What's going on, guys? We're flying solo tonight. Suzanne will not be joining us, unfortunately. She is in the middle of traveling. Me talk words tonight. Good words. Talk me. Okay. Hi Richard. Hi Daniel. Hi Pat. Hi Donnie. Hi Jay Allen. Hi James Craig. Hi Nisa. Hi. Who else is here? I saw Michael Huntington. Pine Cedar. Dalen is here. Robert is here. Wow. Susan is here, Ian Smith, Christine, Bill Landers. Bill, hello, my friend. Please give my best to your wife and to you. Safe travels to both of you. Another Susan is here. Hello, other Susan. Lucy, Michael. Welcome, guys. Welcome to everybody. Hides in long grass. Love it. No mods behave, says Hides in long grass. That is correct. Be easy. Go easy. Be easy, guys. Be easy. Public service announcement from Ryan Sprague. Go easy on me tonight. I will be doing the chat. I will be doing our videos, our news, everything. This is why I need Suzanne. She is a godsend. But yeah, we're gonna have some fun tonight, guys. I've got the latest UFO news for you. A lot of controversial stuff going on in the UFO world right now. Am I right? I haven't been in ufology for about a month now. So for those of you who know, I'm filming a ghost hunting show in Nova Scotia. I've been doing it for about 2 years now. And every time I go out to film, the live streams unfortunately get interrupted. Now more than ever, because of this show that I'm doing now, it starts filming earlier in the day. Whereas I used to be able to do the live streams, get it done, and then go film. But we start earlier in the day now, so I haven't been able to do these. So my apologies for that. But I'm so happy we were able to make this work tonight. And that is because I'm home. In my hometown, I should say. I'm home at my father's house in New York. That's why I could do it. I'm on the East Coast finally. So all you East Coasters, I'm here with you. 4 p.m. for me. I know it's 9 p.m. over in the UK, a little earlier in the day, West Coast. So thank you guys, no matter where you are. Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you are new, I do see we have some new people here. We cover all the latest UFO and space related news. That's what we do. Every Sunday leading into Monday's podcast episode. So I got some good stuff for you tonight. But before we do that, Papa Sprague Lerv, is he here? Dalen? Oh, no, you mean because I'm at his house. Wow. That went over my head like a million times, like the DC Capitol UFO flyover. Dude, come on, Ryan. I am in a mood. I'm in a mood, guys. It is so good to be back where I can be myself with you guys. Thank yous. Thank yous first and foremost. But before that, again, you saw at the top of the show, I do want to pay my respects and the respects of everyone at Somewhere in the Skies to Earl Grey Anderson, who we unfortunately lost a couple weeks ago now. So for those of you who may not know Earl Grey, he was a UFO researcher, a musician, a very talented musician at that, and just one of my best friends in the UFO field. I had the pleasure of meeting him several times in Los Angeles. I had the pleasure of working on several television shows with him, and he's been on the podcast numerous times. He even was a correspondent, an on site correspondent for Somewhere in the Skies. So when there were conferences, either in LA or even in Arizona, and I wasn't able to make them, Earl was my on site guy. He would go and interview the speakers and attendees, and I was able to make full episodes out of that, like live from the UFO Congress, stuff like that, even though I wasn't there. And it was all because Earl would take the time, his valuable, precious time at these conferences, and do those interviews for me. And I was so honored. And yeah, he was like a state director for MUFON. He investigated some of the most famous cases out there that MUFON has looked at, and just such a credible stand-up dude. And we are going to miss him immensely in the UFO field. He was truly one of the good ones. And yeah, we will take his memory forward, and it will propel us to continue looking for those answers somewhere in the skies. And we can only hope that Earl is now getting some of those answers to the questions that he sought in life. So once again, this episode is dedicated in loving memory of Earl Grey Anderson. All right, I just want to say hello to a few more people that I saw hop in the chat. Hello to Michael, first time here, welcome. Hello to Daniel. Who else did I see here that was new? Earl Grey was a great guy. Let's put these up, guys. Patient with new interviewers, sweet, endearing, great interview to watch. His storytelling and info sharing was amazing. It truly was. Christine. Christine. I'm not sure how you pronounce that with the space there, but yes, he was such a good storyteller. The way he would explain his cases, it was so deeply personal. And you guys know me, that's what I'm all about. So awesome. And his mom was like an assistant to Howard Hughes at one point. Crazy stuff. So what an incredible, rich life that he led. And yeah, he will be missed. Sending my love and my wishes and thoughts out to his wife as well, who I know is probably going through a very tough time, all of his family. So if any of them are watching, if you come across this in YouTube form or podcast form, sending my love to all of you, and just know how much we respected and continue to respect Earl, and we will carry on his legacy and his research as we continue to dig into this deeply profound and enigmatic topic of UFOs, for sure. Okay, guys, what do I have next here for you? Yes, Patreon. Before we get to the news, I want to thank some of our new Patreon subscribers. We have Travis C., Derek N., Mitchell M., and Jacob S. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining up over at patreon.com/somewhereskies, where you get early access to all episodes of the podcast, bonus episodes, priority to ask our guests listener questions, and to get shout outs on the show like this. So again, I cannot do this without the help of our Patreon subscribers, our super chatters, super stickers. All of you make this show truly continue and grow. So I want to thank these four again, all of our past, present, and future Patreon subscribers. If you would like to learn more and join, you can join at patreon.com/somewhereskies. And the super chat and super stickers are open all of tonight if you'd like to help us out that way. If you have a burning question you want me to get to, put that in the super chat, and I will make sure to get to that towards the end of the show after our news segment. All right, we are going to get started, guys, with our first story of the night. And this has to do with something that came to our attention from the debrief, particularly our good buddy, colleague, Micah Hanks. And this is a very, very excited story. This story is very excited to be here tonight with us. Guys, I am so rusty. This is crazy. It's like I'm just learning to talk for the first time. This is what happens when I'm on the road in like small fishing towns hunting ghosts and I don't do this for a month. This is what happens. Mm. I also have some stuff I want to share with you guys. Maybe I'll do it after this story. Some cool stuff that I found here in my dad's house of mine from my past, and some new books that I got that I want to share with you. A cool antique that I found at an antique shop in Nova Scotia. So I'll get to those. Let's get back to this story. Again, this comes to us from Micah Hanks at the Debrief, and the title is James Webb Space Telescope confirms major discovery of water ice in alien planetary system for the very first time. So, astronomers have confirmed the presence of water ice in a planetary system beyond our own for the first time in the latest major discovery made possible by NASA's James Webb Telescope. The discovery, which astronomers have demonstrated to be water in the form of crystalline ice and not just as water vapor, marks a significant milestone in the long-running search for evidence of water ice in distant star systems. Webb's instruments confirmed crystalline water within dust surrounding the planet HD 181327, a sun-like star located 155 light-years away. The landmark confirmation follows a series of significant discoveries made by James Webb's telescope, which include the successful detection of unexpected auroral, I hope I'm saying that right, auroral activity near Jupiter's poles. Astronomers estimate that HD 181327 to be just 23 million years old. That, in comparison to our sun, makes it very young, possibly just 23 million years old compared to our 4.6 billion year old host star. Astronomers believe this frozen water may eventually make its way to emerging terrestrial planets by hitching rides on comet-like bodies, which may seed them with not only water, but possibly other components crucial to forming habitable worlds. Man, if people are just tuning in and they're hearing me laughing with this image up there, I can only imagine what they're thinking out of context. To end this story, guys, for now, with the confirmed presence of frozen water ice in a planetary system beyond ours, astronomers plan to study other young planetary systems throughout the Milky Way galaxy, hidden from astronomers due to the technological limitations of past space observatories. All right. So pretty cool, guys. Water ice found on planets could be habitable. What do we think? What do we think? Are they going to find something Earth-like, bacterial-wise or component-wise on this planet? I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens. We will keep you posted on this story as it develops. Dalen says Sauron. It does look like the Eye of Sauron, for sure. Did Ryan get possessed by a comedian ghost? Daniel says. I wish, man. I couldn't tell a joke to save my life. Actually, do I have one? Do I have a good one? I don't. I'll think of one during one of our videos, I promise. A dad joke, for sure. Cool. Let's go to our next story, guys, and then I got some fun little books and objects here at home that I wanted to share with you guys exclusively. Japan. Japan is in the news for UFOs. This is pretty cool. So the headline reads, Japan is forming its first ever UFO research office. Finally. So this story says, Japanese lawmakers have called on the Japanese Ministry of Defense to establish a dedicated department to investigate UAP. On May 16th, members of the quote, Parliamentary League for UAP Clarification from a Security Perspective, end quote, delivered a formal proposal to the defense minister, Jen Nakatani, urging the government to strengthen surveillance and data collection in response to recent incursions by drones and surveillance balloons. Womp womp. Particularly those believed to originate from China. The proposal calls for the ministry to form a specialized division focused on 3 key tasks: collecting and analyzing UAP related data, disclosing relevant findings to the public, and reporting investigation results regularly. Yasukazu Hamada, former defense minister and leader of the UAP League, emphasized the urgency of comprehensive readiness, stating that it is critically important that Japan close any gaps in responses to unexplained aerial phenomena. Japan's position is to proceed with every possible scenario in mind. Every possible scenario, guys. Not just surveillance balloons, not just drones, everything. Defense Minister Jen Nakatani would state, quote, "As one of the League's founding members, I continue to recognize the strategic importance of UAPs. We are maintaining a broad, high-level focus on all phenomena that may impact Japan's national security, including those involving unidentified flying objects." So there we go, baby. Japan's AARO is in the works. What do you guys think? Is this strictly drone and technology, human-made technology related, national security? Will they be looking at anything anomalous, kind of like Sky Canada is doing in Canada? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Let me go up in the chat and see what you guys are saying. Let's see here. Spy balloons, Dalen says. Ugh, yeah, I know. Daniel says, I think there's 99% chance there is life in water ice. I think there is life all over the universe in a myriad forms in a range of intellectual capacity. He is referring to our last story, and I would have to agree. I would have to agree. Pat says, smash that like button. Yes, I don't do that enough, guys. If you would like to help us and you can't do so through the super chat or super stickers, simply like this video. Leave a comment below the video after as well. All of that stuff helps boost us up in the algorithms. So yes, please do that if you can. Pine Cedar says Japan should start a global UFO research organization for all countries, with the charter stating what we know. Other life forms visit here on a regular basis. Interesting, Pine Cedar. You take that as a given, huh? I know a lot of people that agree with you. That's for sure. That is for sure. All right. Cool. So before we get to our sort of next chunk of stories, guys, like I mentioned earlier, I am home in central New York at my father's house where all of my stuff has been packed away for a very long time. And a lot of my stuff from like my entire childhood is here as well. So I'm going to go kind of chronologically here. I don't have a ton of stuff, but I thought this was pretty cool. So when I was born, the day I was born, my mother had a Care Bear waiting for me when I came into the world. And this is it. This is literally my Care Bear that is as old as I am, which is maybe late 30s, maybe early 40s. I won't say anything else. But I have had this bear literally since the day I was born. And he's seen better days. His arms have been stitched back on a couple times, couple legs maybe had to have some work on them. But yeah, this is my Care Bear from age 1, baby Ryan, and I found this. I've kept it ever since, and it just reminds me so much of my mother, who I lost last year. So it's good to be home. Good to be with my bear again. Did you guys have a Care Bear growing up? Or what kind of toy did you have? What is like your precious memento that just brings all those feelings back? Because baby bear is definitely it for me. So there you go, guys. Mwah! From me to you. This is pretty cool too. I found this up in the attic here. I don't know if you could see it. It's a keychain from the musical Rent. Now, for those of you who don't know, when I'm not hunting UFOs and doing all this paranormal stuff, I'm a theater nerd. I went to school for theater, for acting and playwriting. And the entire reason I got into theater was because of this musical, Rent. I went to see it in New York City and I thought, what a musical. This is dumb. I don't want to watch this. And I will tell you, after the first song, I was hooked. When I heard a guitar riff going on in a musical, boom, I was sold. Rent is and continues to be my all-time favorite musical. It got me into theater. I've auditioned for the play, the musical, many, many times. I have not been cast in it, maybe someday, but it just holds such a special place in my heart. I've seen the show probably at least 50, 60, 70 times. I would travel to New York City from my hometown. I'd take a bus up, I'd go see the show, take a bus home at like 2 in the morning just to see the show. I knew every cast member that was coming in and out of the show constantly. I won the ultimate rent head contest, which was cool. I won a free trip to New York City, dinner at Planet Hollywood back when that was a thing, and front row seats to see Rent, and a backstage tour to meet all of the cast. And yeah, just so many incredible memories of that show. So yeah, it was pretty cool to find this keychain again. I'm gonna have to bring it with me and hope I don't lose it. But do you guys have a favorite musical? Let me know in the chat. I'd love to know if you have a favorite musical. Where's my Cabbage Patch Kid? Says hides in long grass. Oh man. UFO Green, James Craig says, yep. Yep. Funny, my boys in their 30s still have theirs too. One has astronaut baby Dougie. I love that, Robert. I love it. A couple other things. I'm just wasting time with you guys because I don't have a ton of news stories tonight, but I got some fun videos for you, which we will get to. But this is cool. So some of you might remember these, Michael Huntington particularly. Open Minds used to have a magazine, a beautiful color glossy magazine that would come out bi-monthly, I believe, all about UFOs. And this was my first ever cover story when I wrote for Open Minds. They truly were the ones that gave me a chance and with UFO journalism. And they gave me the cover story, the Brooklyn Bridge UFO abduction, which a lot of you know is the Linda Cortiel case. They just made it into the Netflix, I think 3 or 4 part series. If you haven't seen that, very controversial. But yeah, I found this up in the attic. This is my first ever cover story for Open Minds magazine. Let me see if I can find the actual story. There it is. It was called Kiss the Sky, the Brooklyn Bridge UFO. And they just did an incredible job on this. Look at that. Like full color. There's Bud Hopkins there. Really cool. More of it, this story. Like they just went all out. Like this was a professional magazine you could buy in every bookstore, in airports and everything. It was so cool. Unfortunately, the magazine is now defunct. But yeah, those were the days. Remember these things, guys? Print copies of things where you could actually like put your fingers through pages and read things. Like, oh, just so cool. Thems were the days. This was another one about the Rendlesham Forest UFO incident that I got to do a story for as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to hold on to these. I think I have a couple copies of them. So maybe we'll do like a fun raffle or contest or something in the future for those as well. But I thought I'd share those with you guys. Here's another one, A Blast from the Past. Do you guys remember this book? I sure do, because I have an essay in it. This book was comprised and edited by the late Robbie Graham, and it had essays from all of these people that you see here. MJ Benias, Greg Bishop, Robert Brandstetter, Jack Brewer, Mike Clellan, Kirk Collins, Joshua Cutchin, Lauren Cutts, Susan Demeter St. Clair, Micah Hanks, Smiles Lewis, Red Pill Junkie, Chris Rutkowski, and Orion Sprague. This is a fun book. When did it come out? Let's look at the date in here. This is like pre New York Times article and all that stuff. 2017. So this came out like right before the big story sort of broke. Right? Yeah, right? Is that when the New York Times story broke? Anyways, it was a book about just reframing the entire conversation on UFOs, which would ultimately happen. So, if you guys are interested, this is available on Amazon and I believe in bookstores as well. You can still get it. And it's pretty cool to like look at what a lot of the researchers at the time were thinking about the overhaul in the reframing of the entire UFO conversation. And then, boom, the whole conversation changed like overnight when all that stuff happened in 2017. So this book came right before it. So it's pretty interesting. It's a collector's item at this point, but yeah, check it out if you get a chance. UFOs reframing the debate with incredible artwork by the one and only Red Pill Junkie. So cool. Memories, memories. More on the UFO front, guys. I have that book, James says. Awesome, buddy. Awesome. I just got a fun collection of UFO books from the one and only Rob Christofferson. He was like selling off a bunch of his old UFO books, making room for new ones, I assume. And I was able to snatch a couple of the really good ones. So this is what I got from Rob. Into the Fringe, which is the alien abduction book. Ooh, it looks like those aliens are moving. Oh, that's creepy. By Dr. Carla Turner. So that one is cool. What else do I have here? Oh, heck yeah. Flying Saucer Occupants by Coral and Jim Lorenzen. Got my hands on that one. Of course, the Hynek UFO Report. I got a hardcover finally. I've been looking for a hardcover of this, so thank you, Rob. And last but not least, and this has a lot to do with next week's podcast episode. Next week, in less than 24 hours, it's dropping. Boom. They Knew Too Much About Flying Saucers by Gray Barker. Now, this is a soft copy, so I'm sure it's a modern version, but I do have the original hardcover as well. But I had to get my hands on this one as well because it has so much to do with this week's podcast episode where we interview Gabriel McKee, who is a author, and he recently wrote a biography on the life and career of Gray Barker. So we're going to talk all about that with him tomorrow on the podcast. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, guys, that's some fun stuff I wanted to share with you. Some stuff from my past, some stuff from my present, and hopefully some more stuff to show you in the very near future. So yeah. All right, just going up in the chat, seeing what you guys are saying. Michael, I wrote for that, but it was taken out. I'm in the thanks. Robbie was a cool dude. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't know that. It was a rigorous process. I'm not going to lie. My essay is interesting. I'm still surprised he included it, but he did for some strange reason. But hey, maybe we can do a reframing the debate part 2 someday, my friend, for sure. Cool. How we doing? Chat's behaving. Good job, guys. Everyone's behaving. Love to see it. Okay. Now we get to the hard stuff. Ufology sucks right now. It is so dumb. I'm sorry. Like, I just have to be upfront, guys. I mean, I haven't really been in the conversation for like a month now because of my job right now and everything, but yeah. Ufology is very stupid right now. And I don't know if it's going to get better. I'm trying by still having fun with it, talking about old fun cases and stuff, but everything going on right now is just ungodly boring and mundane and leading to nothing, to be honest. So, yeah. What the heck, Ryan Claudette says. Hey, I'm not going anywhere, and I still love ufology. I always have. I always will. But it seems like there's a lot of just weird stuff going on right now when it comes to Congress and the government and all these different organizations and the disclosure fund, disclosure entertainment fund, the the UAP caucus, the Sky Watchers, the this, the that. I don't want to like narrow in on any of these specifically. They all have their own motivations and reasons for their existence. But it's so overwhelming and saturated right now that what I think a lot of these organizations and institutes and whatever you want to call them, what they are severely lacking right now is UFOs. Where are the UFOs in this conversation? I will give Skywatcher credit. They are actually going out there and trying to sort of correlate these things. You know, they came out with a video where they came up with like 9 different types of UFOs. So they're trying. And I do respect that. And I do appreciate that. But all this other bureaucratic bullshit is just so boring. It's so boring. But enough of that. We're going to talk about some of that stuff that has happened recently because I know that some of you do enjoy it and find hope in it. And that's good. So we have to cover it. And I'm sorry if I'm coming off a little harsh. It's just not the kind of UFO conversation I like to have personally. But it's in the news, so we're going to cover it. So let's get to our first one here, guys. Okay. So, this past week, Congressmember Eric Berlinson commented on David Grusch and AARO in a SCIF, and also about the Lou Elizondo controversy at the Federal Secrets Task Force UAP briefing. Do you guys remember that? I live streamed it. It was like 4 hours long. The audio was horrendous, and there was a photo shown that turned out to be an irrigation circle that was shown by Lou Elizondo. He has since been taken to task for that, just like he did with the chandelier photo as well. And then within a week, he ended up leaving the UAP Disclosure Fund, the very group that put on that briefing for Congress members. So a lot going on, I'm sure, behind the scenes. I don't know anything about it. I can't pretend to be an insider on any of that stuff. So don't come asking me about any of it, guys. I am not connected to any of this stuff. I'm merely reporting on it as you're seeing it as well. But these next 3 stories come to us from Matt Lazlo over at Askapol. I highly suggest you guys subscribe to his podcast and YouTube channel because he's the one over at the White House and Congress getting these interviews with people who are dealing with these UAP SCIFs and hearings and all that stuff. And he recently caught up after a SCIF that took place with, I believe it was the it was with the FBI or something like that. We have another FBI one as well. But I'm going to go ahead and play this clip from the first one for you guys, where he sort of talks about what happened at that UAP Disclosure Fund briefing thing that took place and sort of the debacle from all of that. And some of what happened at one of these meetings that he attended recently. I believe it was with AARO. There we go. AARO, I want to say. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's play the clip and we'll talk about it on the other side.
A lot of frustration in this area right now because you've got, we had Lou Elizondo has left the UAP Disclosure Fund. I think that's unfortunate. I don't think people should beat up on Lou as much as he's been beat up on the internet and social media. Yeah. The truth is, he's a U.S. citizen. He's a patriot. He's only done things to attempt to be loyal to his country. And at the UAP hearing, when he showed the photo to me, he said the caveat that he's not vetted this, and that he was just handed this, and he almost hesitated to show us because he wanted to have time to vet it, but he wants to be transparent. Give the guy a break. Give him a break. I would rather have people err on the side of being aggressive in their disclosure than to be being overly cautious. So I think that your listeners should understand that, and hopefully they do understand that. Yeah. And look, don't you want all of it out there, even the stuff so that everybody, let the internet and the sleuth finders figure this out, right? Let the collective intelligence of the United States citizens determine what's the facts on some of this stuff. That's what I think we would all want.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you know why there was no hearing this week?
Open hearing? I don't. There's not a lot of communication, I believe, happening between the oversight. We're not understanding. I have not heard why we're not having the open hearing. I had a hearing with AARO yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
I had a briefing with AARO for
just you and them.
Are you waiting?
Yeah. No, I just wanted to bug you about Medicaid, but this is also very interesting.
A briefing with AARO, and David Grusch was with me.
Oh, interesting. And just you.
And David gave them more information, I think, than they gave us.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So, at least new information.
Yeah.
So, that was a very productive meeting. Unfortunately, the irony is one of the reasons why we postponed the previous hearing in the SCIF with Lou Elizondo and the others was that we were trying to get David Grusch there.
Yeah.
He still doesn't have his clearance, and he has other issues that are pressing for him that he has to get back home.
Yeah.
And so it's unfortunate. But on Thursday, we're going to have that hearing. I don't know who all is going to be in it. Apparently, Lou is not because of all this kerfuffle. But then we have a briefing with the FBI in the afternoon. So this is UAP week.
But not with AARO? Not with AARO Thursday?
No, I mean, I had the private briefing yesterday.
And it was just you, them,
and David Grusch.
And Grusch.
Yeah.
So what?
And other people from the intelligence, different arms of the intelligence community.
Yeah. So what's Thursday's briefing with the FBI? Is that going to be more incursions?
Yeah, I mean, David Grusch encouraged the oversight committee to set this up, so he's going to be giving me the topic and the content and where to go.
And he'll be there for it?
He won't be able to make it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hello. There I am. Okay. So what do you guys think about that one? There was a SCIF. Grusch was there. So to be fair, Grusch did show up for this meeting. Was it a SCIF? I don't know. This is all so confusing. But that was interesting, to say the least. This next one I found much more interesting, to be honest. I know I talked shit about this all being boring and stuff, but this one actually caught my attention because if there's one organization that isn't really in this conversation when it comes to military or intelligence agencies or federal, investigations, it is literally the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the FBI. So Berlinson had a meeting with the FBI and with, I believe it was a member of AARO actually as well. So interesting meeting. And what happened in that one was pretty crazy, to be honest. So I'm going to go ahead and play this and let me guys know what you think.
Was the FBI one classified?
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
So obviously you can't talk about what was said inside. Can you give us what was the nature of why we wanted to have these different than what we previously had?
We learned that the FBI does have it's a very small office that's researching this topic, and so we reached out to them. They were very open to demonstrating in Congress. And honestly, of all the people that we've talked with, all the meetings we've had, they are the most professional and brought quite a bit to the meetings. So I was extremely impressed.
So you felt like you got more from them in terms of their investigative chops on the topic than you've gotten from AARO in the past?
For the most part. I mean, it's because I think that they're getting caught up. And what was interesting is that the things that they were showing us are different than the videos that I've seen AARO.
Okay, so they have different material.
They have different material.
Huh.
And which begs the question: Are they working together? And I don't know how well they're working together.
We don't have an answer to that question.
Well, and that's so curious. At the end of last year, FBI, DOJ, and Border Patrol testified in front of Homeland Security, and they said, under oath, we have no fucking idea what any of this stuff up and down the East Coast is.
Right.
And that's where I'm curious if higher ups at DOJ are talking to this office.
To me, that's what the FBI is focused on, is like national security. They want to make sure that whatever these things are, that they're not China, they're not Russia, that they are, or a threatening, and they're sticking within the United States, the purview of the United States.
Yeah.
So if something's violating our airspace and violating laws, they have responsibility with it. So but they would like a little bit more direct authority. So they specifically requested that we make some tweaks to some language regarding giving them more authority over this topic.
Was that revelatory because you guys have been so focused on the Pentagon, and if they're looking overseas?
It was.
Yeah.
And they showed us a list of the different agencies and what authorities they have. Yeah. And that kind of became clear because AARO has really only on the list. AARO only had 2, and the FBI they check all the boxes.
Interesting.
Other than the 2 that AARO has. So that AARO has funding for this specifically, but yet the FBI has all the resources. They have all this. Anyway, that's the argument that they were making.
Do you think AARO now needs to go talk to these people?
I think they need to work together for sure.
Yeah.
Did you have any indications like why they're not? It seems obvious as laymen that they should be talking to each other, but do you have an idea why they're not doing that right now?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess my question is this: do you think AARO is closed off in itself? That they're not, they don't want to share? Is that your impression?
No, I don't think so. But what I do think is that it has to do with how it's reported. So
I'm always working on my balance.
So when somebody reports to the field office, to the FBI, and they say, hey, there's some strange object that's floating over the pond behind my house, then the FBI is going to send people in, investigate it, and at the end of the day, so there's a team that then follows up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very X-Files, like reminiscent of X-Files, to be honest.
Yeah.
How are their clothes?
What?
Do they have cool suits on?
They look like FBI agents.
The essential question.
Right?
Right.
They're all buttoned up. But at the end of the day, they send somebody in the field, and then there's a very small team, the way they describe it, that can go out and research this. And they've actually, these guys, they've had people on the team actually see objects.
Interesting.
Let me ask.
Is anyone asking the FBI about the crash retrieval stuff?
We did.
Besides you today.
We did today. They have not.
Was that
so
luminary?
both AARO and the FBI have not had any direct connection to any hard, like material, bodies, anything like that. All of that is all. I mean, it is basically people's work. It's just
no one says they've seen any hard evidence.
Let me ask the flip side of his earlier question. As you're going down with your investigation, are you kind of realizing AARO's kind of powerless because they're only as good as the top brass is going to allow them to be?
Yeah, and I think that what we've learned from David Grusch in our meeting with AARO is that AARO's focused on DOD and defense and those agencies and what can be reported to Congress. But a lot of this is at the White House level, which is there's programs that are not required to report to Congress.
Interesting. But you guys are dialoguing with them through Tulsi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, brother.
No, is there a chance that they get in a SCIF with you too? DNI folks or something?
Or are you guys done with SCIFs? You're going to have this party in the open?
SCIFs are so 2024. SCIFs are so 2024.
Right. No, we're not done. We're going to keep going.
SCIFs are so 2024. I love that. I really liked that clip, to be honest. actually brought to light some revelations from this meeting, of which Berlinson, I guess, can share. I guess what he said was not classified, that the FBI actually is investigating UAP separate from things like AARO, which is over at the DOD and whatnot, and that the FBI has much more resources and clearances and whatnot, I guess. Clearances, would that be the term? When it comes to this stuff to investigate, which is interesting. And some of their field officers have actually seen and experienced UAP. That's pretty crazy. Now, I did misspeak and say that AARO was present at this meeting. It was not. It was the FBI, Congress, and I don't know who else. This might have been the one that Grusch was at. I don't think it was. Too much going on. So many meetings and hearings and fundraising and all that. But all this to say, it seems to me that you live your life like a candle in the wind. Sorry. It seems to me that the FBI is gunning for AARO's funding. That's what it sounds like to me, and kind of what Eric Berlinson was hinting at, that the FBI seems to be doing much better a job at investigating UAP than AARO is, the official designated UAP office within the DOT. And with funds being taken away from all different agencies and organizations right now through the Trump administration in the US, no wonder people are like gunning for each other's funding and where money should be allotted and all that. It sounds to me like this group is kind of flexing, the FBI UFO group, and they're like, hey, we can do what AARO does with much more resources, maybe even paying people less. I don't know, but yeah, I found that pretty fascinating. And Congress isn't going to stop. They're not going to let up. They're going to keep looking into this stuff, try to get whatever they can out to the public with this UAP, or sorry, federal secrets task force stuff. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Ryan's tripping today, James says. A little bit, man. A little bit. But while I'm tripping, I also want to give a special shout out and thank you to Paranormal Pixie Lara for the $10 super chat, and to Gareth Johnson for the 20 is that euros or pounds? One of them, I should know that. I live in Scotland, for the $20. So thank you, Gareth. Truly do appreciate that, guys. If you guys want to help us reach our goal of 5 super chats, you can do that right now. You can even ask a question. I will get to it at the end of tonight's live stream. Help us reach that goal and help support us here at Somewhere in the Skies and Somewhere in the live stream. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you can't do that, simply click like on this video. All I could ever ask. What do you guys think? What do you think of the videos so far? I know they're a little disjointed and stuff, but Daniel says, I don't think it's scripted. The interview is walking with him. Yeah, these weren't scripted. Like Matt Lazlo, he tracks these people down the minute they get out of a building, get into their car. The next one we're going to play is from Anna Paulina Luna. And she's literally in her car, like rolling up the window as Matt like shoves his recorder in her face. I've seen the photo. He is a gumshoe sort of guy, and I respect the hell out of him for doing what he does. Even though it's not really the ufology I want to follow, I follow it nonetheless because I respect the tenacity and dedication he has to getting what he can from these Congress people. So again, huge shout out to Matt Lazlo. I got to get him on the show. He seems like a really nice dude. Never had him on. That would be fun. Pat says, do you trust Berlinson? Pat, I trust Berlinson more than others, including the person we're about to feature. And, you know, we can, not to get political, I don't really trust any of them. None of them have our best interest at heart. They just want to get voted in again, and that's simply it, and stay in the headlines. UFOs are a good way to do that, no matter what end of the aisle you're on. So sorry if I hit the microphone there. I did not smoke a doobie, Daniel. I promise. Not yet. Where you at, Doug Sprague? We token up tonight, buddy? No, not happening. Oh gosh, Michael says every time I type Brooklyn Bridge incident in, it takes me to the Mexican boat accident. Yeah, did you guys hear about that? A Mexican Navy vessel crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge. Was it today or late last night? And people are like critically injured. I don't know if anyone died. If so, that is extremely unfortunate. It's also weird. It's just weird. Like, why the hell would a boat that large with the masts that tall be going under the freaking Brooklyn Bridge? It makes no sense to me unless they got so off course and something happened with their coordinates. But it's like, what? What is going on there? Why were there people on top of the masts? Were they trying to like dismantle it because they knew they were about to hit the bridge? I don't know. It's all mysterious. I'm sure news is still coming out about it. This time on your way. Oh, Gareth says, don't forget your microphone on the way home. I know, man. I won't. I promise. I promise. But yeah, that Mexican boat thing is super weird. Richard says they were looking for Linda Corteo. That is chef's kiss, baby. Oh my gosh. Okay, Gareth says 2 people died, I think. That's terrible. That's terrible. It's disheartening to hear that and very tragic. I've walked that bridge so many times. I have so many good memories. And now this is what we're going to think about with it. I'd rather think about the Brooklyn Bridge UFO abduction. Where is it? Ah, it's tucked away. Terrence says, nothing like clocking out of work and seeing Ryan show up on my feed. Dude, that means the world to me. Thank you guys. Again, we haven't done this in a month. And the fact that so many have showed up tonight, it means the world to me. And I love doing this. So thank you. Thank you for spending your Sunday evening, afternoon, late evening with me. Man, you guys keep me going in a field that constantly tries to push us all away. But we're all here and we can all still have a good time. And that's what we do here. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm getting all emotional. One sec here. Promise we'll get back to the news. Huge thank you to Susan for the super chat. Truly do appreciate that. I just want to get to these before I forget, guys. And also to Lucy for the $10 super chat. Missed the live stream. So happy to see you back. Thank you, Lucy. It's so good to be back. I think I'll be able to do it next week. No promises, but I think I will be able to do it. I will still be here in Central New York. So yeah. Cool. One more video clip from these Congress things going on. Matt Lazlo, again, huge shout out. This one is interesting, guys. So I think it might have been this FBI meeting where Christopher Mellon, David Grusch, and Lou Elizondo were all supposed to be present. It was finally going to be a SCIF where they could all go into a secure place and talk amongst these Congress people and members of the intelligence agencies and get to the bottom of what they know about UAP, where we go from here, and what can come of all of it. All of it. This was the opportunity for us to finally get some answers, get everyone into a secure place, and really get to the nitty-gritty of all of these sweeping claims that have been made for the past few years now, ever since David Grusch came out. This was put to rest some of the unanswered questions that he said he could not answer unless it was in a SCIF. Same with Lou Elizondo, even Christopher Mellon maybe. But that didn't happen. And we're going to find out why in this clip with Anna, Paulina Luna, and Matt Lazlo. Give this a watch. Talk about it on the other side.
Chair. So I heard we're going to get a JFK hearing on the 20th.
We have some great witnesses, and also Odie and I uncovered 6 boxes of the Joe Nene's files, so that could be it.
When do you think we'll get a UAP hearing?
We actually have one being noticed currently, so you guys will see all that information coming out.
What happened with this week's hearing?
Well, we have 2 SCIF briefings this week, and by the way, Mellon got sick, Lou Elizondo got sick, and Mr. Grusch also is not feeling well, but Grusch has been very helpful. So my message is, if we got the SCIF, you guys need to be here for the SCIF briefings.
Yep.
Thanks.
Awesome. Appreciate you, ma'am.
How many showed up?
We had 3 in there, but 3 of our main ones were sick. So we're going to get it back on the books and see if they show up. They had SCIF flu.
How was FBI?
I'll share it.
Amazing. It was 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
You could just, I
Give you
literally.
more direction.
Hey, I was going to tell them in regards to our FBI SCIF interview, 10 out of 10 makes us reconsider AARO.
You guys need to meet this guy.
Yeah, he's
He's
great.
big in the
Actually,
UFO
we're going to get a copy of the book. But yeah, he's great. I got a roll though. Thanks, guys.
Cool. I'm
Joe,
going, man.
Cool News Nation.
SCIF flu. Who's feeling it? You got the SCIF flu? My throat's a little scratchy too, guys. You know what? They all could be sick. I can't deny that, but it is quite a coincidence that they had a meeting set up in a SCIF with these 3 gentlemen, and all 3 of them called out sick. Why is that? Let me know in the chat. What do you guys think? Why? Why did none of them show up? Were they sick? Mellon and Elizondo were present at that UAP Disclosure Fund debacle thing. And Mellon was coughing a lot, to be honest. Someone in the chat said he might have had pneumonia. And it's very possible that Elizondo caught it while he was there as well. So, like, I'm not saying they're making it up that they were sick. It's just insanely inconvenient that these 3 members were all finally given the opportunity to do what they said they would do with Congress in a secure location, and they didn't do it. Will they get another chance? Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like Anna Paulina's kind of done with that, with them. I mean, you look at the UAP Disclosure Fund event that she was present at and kind of set up with her federal task force. And in the middle of Eric Davis's talk, she just got up and left. Because he said that, you know, there's 10-foot tall gray aliens walking around among us and stuff. And she clearly didn't want to hear that. Even if it's true. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. But it sounds like she's kind of fed up with a lot of the wise tales being told that circulate amongst all these people. But the meeting sounded pretty good, positive, with this FBI person they met with. And she even said it made them reconsider AARO, as in, let's give everything AARO has to this FBI group. So there you go. I don't know what to make of any of this. It's highly disappointing that we finally were going to get these guys all in a SCIF together, and it didn't happen because they all called out sick. Or the dog ate their homework. I don't know. Going up in the chat here, guys. AARO gonna get the ass. Taylor says, "SCIF it ain't easy, jail," and that needs to be a t-shirt yesterday. Say less, I'm on it. Cheers, Kurt. Cheers to you, buddy. Gareth says, "Is there any news on your post about the Edinburgh meetup?" So, yes, I mean, not news, but yes, for those who didn't see my social media post, I'm going to try to put a meetup together in Scotland. Just a UFO conversation. We're going to go to the pub. We're going to drink some beers. We're going to watch some football, and we're going to talk UFOs. That's it. No talks, no admission price, nothing. It'll be an informal meeting. Tap some Guinnesses, some whiskey back with you guys if you're in the UK area. There has been some talk that maybe we'll move it to a more neutral place in the UK, maybe London even, but I would love to organize something like that when I'm actually back in the UK, which will be this summer. So I should be around all summer, and maybe we can make that happen. But no news on that front yet, Gareth, but I will let you guys know over in the UK if and when we can make that UFO meetup happen in my bonny wee home of Edinburgh or somewhere in the UK. We shall see. Michael says SCIF flu is cured by UFO fests. Interesting. Nisa says, I agree with you. Lou just needs to start talking. Is he even answering to anyone anymore? Who knows? Okay. Well, let's move on from these Congress things, guys, and we're gonna move to. Oh no, did I just do it? I think I did. I did. I got rid of our slideshow. That's okay. We're gonna talk Immaculate Constellation. How's that sound? So the 3-part series that George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell did with Immaculate Constellation whistleblower Matthew Brown has concluded. So for those of you who don't know, it's so weird. I have a video set up that Suzanne sent me of her. She's going to be talking about the David Grusch lawsuit in just a little bit for you guys. But I see the video below in our quote unquote green room, and I think it's her. I actually think it's her because usually I can see her down there when she's moderating. But it's still image of her, and I keep freaking out that she showed up here in the chat. That's hilarious. Sending my love to you, Suzanne, and to Bill as well. So yeah. So for those of you who don't know, we haven't covered this on the show because I've been gone for so long. The Immaculate Constellation interview series concluded on the Weaponized podcast. What did we learn? I'm going to read just a little bit here, guys, of what the Immaculate Constellation papers were and who Matthew Brown is. In a 3-part Weaponized podcast series, Matthew Brown, a former Department of Defense and State Department analyst, publicly disclosed the existence of a covert Pentagon program called Immaculate Constellation. This unacknowledged special access program, or a USAP, allegedly utilized advanced artificial intelligence to scan classified military and intelligence servers, collecting images and data related to UAP. And Brown's revelations were based on a 4-year investigation involving access to non-public information, including intelligence reports and classified files. Brown's decision to come forward was driven by a sense of duty and concern over the lack of transparency surrounding UAPs. He detailed how the program's secrecy was maintained through the compartmentalization and a culture of fear, greed, and willful ignorance. Despite submitting his findings to Congress, Brown noted that his report was largely ignored and the Pentagon denied the program's existence. So yeah, Immaculate Constellation, guys. Matthew Brown, we finally can put a name and a face to the author, quote unquote, of the Immaculate Constellation papers, or the person who found them, whatever they were. But let's go ahead and play this video where Knapp and Corbell talk to Matthew Brown and sort of outlines the program, how he found it, a case that he found that was pretty compelling in that, and then we'll just kind of briefly summarize what was the highlights of this 3-part series. So let's go ahead and give this a watch.
Clear at that point in time, I had no formal training in what SAPs were. There was no SAP marking on this, just a name, Immaculate Constellation. Opening slide, just we would call it improperly labeled, improperly classified.
What was it? What did it show?
So the next slide, the third slide about, just jumps straight into the mission of the SAP and showing what apparently the results of that mission are. And it's a collection incident in the Pacific Ocean. The subject of collection is several Russian naval intelligence vessels in the middle of the ocean at night. And above those vessels is a large black triangle floating in the air. This is a still image, but it is color.
Okay, so that's the first kind of event, but what was the mission? What was the mission? That's what people want to know, is what was the mission of Immaculate Constellation as described in the product?
So in the product itself, you had to piece together the mission by reading the whole thing and kind of putting together the parts. It never spelled out fully, like as it should, the mission of the SAP. And I assume that's because this is a type of brief where there will be inserts to the deck, which would be inserted by the SAP control officer during the briefing that would provide another level of detail. But based on the information included in there and its description, the mission becomes apparent, and that is a bare minimum. It's the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance mission of a global nature for UAPs and RVs, ARVs. The hesitation there is some time has passed. One of those acronyms is in there, either RV or ARV, and that is how the triangle in this case was labeled.
been 7 years. So as you're reading through this and that you're remembering RV or ARV just for our audience. So RV is, reverse
reproduction
vehicle.
Yeah.
And the ARV would mean alien, anomalous reproduction.
We see, people in the literature say alien reproduction vehicle. It could just be anomalous,
advanced,
or advanced. It could be anything that can go after A.
So you don't know what that is. But
I don't.
This is a pretty interesting image here.
It is. Right? And then the text that accompanies it describes the incident.
And what can you tell us about it?
The summary of that is just how it unfolded. I should actually back up and say the image itself was unique. This isn't by a plane or a satellite. It looks to be a image pretty close to the waterline. So something that to me read is we have a clandestine submersible asset close by this fleet, and it's taking pictures, trying to stay unnoticed. And so, yes, in the description, it basically lays out what occurred that night, which was that our collection assets were there in area monitoring Russian naval vessels. Not sure what they're doing there. But they've been hanging out in the middle of the ocean in this place, apparently, for a few days. Keep an eye on them. And this night, while they are observing the Russian vessels, a large black triangle materializes or decloaks or something. The point is it did not move. It appeared directly above these ships, probably no more than 200 meters, pretty close. And interestingly, as noted in the report itself, there was no visible reaction from these vessels from what would almost certainly be considered a hostile approach.
What do you take away from that? They didn't notice it, or they're not upset about it, or they don't know what to do with it, or what?
So the implication also in the text describing it was, the analysis in the text was that the Russian Navy had foreknowledge that this vehicle would appear in that area of the ocean, and they were there specifically to either collect on it themselves or to interact with it in some way.
Any indication that it might be theirs, that they knew it's going to be there because they control it?
Not in that document, and I haven't seen anything to make me think that they controlled that particular craft, but didn't see anything to the contrary either.
I guess it could be that they've seen it before, that there's nothing they can do about it, so don't get excited about it.
Might be, although it is interesting, if it's something that's part of their environment, as it were, why are they making an effort to be in this space at this time to collect on something they already know about?
Is it like in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, it's off the coast of Kamchatka, as I recall, in the Pacific Ocean.
All right, guys. So there's kind of the overview of how he found Immaculate Constellation and one of the cases that he found in the reports. What do you guys think about all this? Now, there's been a lot of talk that what he found was actually just a outline or a plan for a quote-unquote war game, what was called the Shriver war game, that all he found were like these hypotheticals that of this exercise, this war game that would be done like once a year, once every 2 years or something like that. And all of this was completely fictional. But Matthew Brown took it as fact. And when he tried to look further into it, people just laughed him off or ignored it. And that he perceived that as it was a cover up rather than, dude, come on, this is just like BS. I don't know. I don't know enough about all of it, guys. Like I said, I have been out of the UFO loop for a while now, and I do apologize for that. So if any of this is redundant to you or old news, I do apologize. But like, there's been a lot of contention with Immaculate Constellation and how it was brought forward, what Matthew Brown is saying. But there were a few things he said in the third episode, the final episode of this Immaculate Constellation interview series. Hi, buddy. One of my dad's dogs is here. Hi, bud. Hi, Titus. Titus, he's a little French bulldog. He's too heavy, or else I'd bring him up here for you guys. I'll let you out in a little bit, okay, bud? I'll let you out in a little bit. But yeah. Oh, hi. Hi, bud. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get going in just a little bit, guys. Fed the dogs, got to bring them out in a little bit. Hey, even when I'm at home with family, I'm still working. still doing stuff. Hi, Layla. They're all coming up now. Hi. There's a third one too, Madison. I think she's still eating. Anyways, a lot of people have commented on how Matthew Brown, at the end of the third episode of the Immaculate Constellation interview thing, started bringing up like reality isn't what we think it is. We live in a matrix, and God is real. What is going on? I'm gonna play this quick video that came to us from Disclosure Team Vinny Adams, and about him kind of talking about this. Let's give this a little watch.
We live in a dream, a carefully constructed reality. We make use of a science that is tightly controlled and suppressed and distorted.
Who are they? Why are they here? Why don't they show us what's going on?
I think I have a good degree of confidence that the reason they're here is us. I think life, especially sentient life, is a precious thing. And I think to some, it might be a resource. I think humanity to some level is a resource for them. It's been a very painful, costly process to find allies, but I have them. There's more of us. This doesn't stop.
Right.
You got to know some of these other whistleblowers who are still not public yet.
Correct.
But who are at least close to coming forward.
Yes.
Is there strength in numbers in that regard?
Yes, and if all of us die or imprisoned, the seeds have been planted, more will come.
If all of us die or imprisoned, this man looks scared. And not in like an acting way, like he legitimately looks scared for his life, for what he has brought forward. And I do not want to take that away from him. He may firmly believe everything in these Immaculate Constellation papers. And he may firmly believe whatever has led him to this sort of spiritual quest or journey, and how he is perceiving the information that he uncovered or has been told. And look, we all do it in some ways. There is a sect of the UFO community who are deeply spiritual, and they look at this as religion. In belief. It is a belief to them. It seems like Matthew Brown is on his own journey spiritually. And maybe look at like Tom DeLonge. Tom DeLonge has some very weird ideas and concepts in his mind of what UFOs are or aren't, what the intelligence behind them are or aren't. And when he's told certain things, maybe those people are going to run with what he believes spiritually. Like UFOs are bad, demonic, or whatever. Could be the same with this Matthew Brown guy. We don't know enough about him yet. It was a good series, I will say. I would highly recommend watching this 3-part series on Weaponized, because no matter what you think of Immaculate Constellation itself, all the things that Matthew Brown are saying, we've known for a long time. The government is investigating UFOs, and a lot of it is being hidden. That is true. That has basically been proven at this point. However, it's the information that he's bringing forward that we have to pay attention to and be cautious of. So, yeah, I'm not going to run through what was in all parts of the series. You guys should definitely watch that. But it's interesting, and I'd like to know what you guys think of Immaculate Constellation. And will we get more of these individuals coming forward? Like he said, there are more of us. They will come forward. If I, get unalived somehow because of the truth I'm bringing forward, or I get put in prison and fearing for my life for what I brought forward, there will be others. There's like a kill switch, as it were. So look, Knapp and Corbell were using that term before, like the day Immaculate Constellation came out. Like, yo, we got a kill switch in place, man. Like, you could take us out, you could take out the Immaculate Constellation guy, but there will be others. I don't know. We'll see. I'm paying attention to it. I'm intrigued. I'm interested. It's good to finally have a face and a name to Immaculate Constellation. It does give it more credence and credibility, in my personal opinion. And I do look forward to where this story goes. I honestly do. So I'll be keeping an eye on it. I hope you guys will too. Ryan, can you get Vinny on? You two are great. Yes, absolutely. I'd love to have Vinny back on. Maybe I can make that happen while I'm here in New York. If not, definitely when I get back to Scotland. And hopefully he can come to my UFO meetup as well. It would be good to see him again. I've only met Vinny once in the UK so far, but it certainly will not be the last time. Hello to Grant Lavok from Down Under. Thanks so much for being here, Grant. Always appreciate you hopping in, man, and for keeping me on my toes and in good spirits and humor on Twitter. I love it, man. I love it. I love it. Hi, here's Maddie. Hi, Maddie. The third dog has arrived. Hi, guys. We'll go out in a minute, okay? Cool. I've got one more story for you guys. So like I mentioned, we mentioned David Grusch earlier in this conversation. Well, we do have some updates on the David Grusch lawsuit with the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office. Now, Suzanne, our moderator, has been paying very close attention to this, speaking directly to the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office and to the lawyers involved with all this. And she is the one keeping us on top of what is going on. And there's been some pretty big updates in the David Grusch pending lawsuit. Now, for those of you who don't know, a story came out about David Grusch, basically his police records being leaked to The Intercept, which is a news website. But not only that, health records. There's a lot of contention with all of that. I don't want to get into it now, semantics and all that stuff. But safe to say, David Grusch found it important and I guess traumatic enough to sue the sheriff's office that released these files to The Intercept. So there's been some updates. Maybe some good, maybe some bad. But I'm going to let Suzanne actually talk to you guys. She was kind enough to research all of this, put down the information, and put it in video form for you guys. So you will get to see Suzanne's face right here, right now, talking all about the updates with the David Grusch lawsuit. Let's give this a watch.
Hi everybody, it's Somewhere in the Skies. It's Suzanne, your moderator, and it's time for a little update from somewhere in a courtroom, and that courtroom belongs to Mr. David Grusch in Loudoun County, Virginia. Lots going on here. They are set for trial June the 5th, and as a result, the motions are flying. And one of the most fascinating motions is what we're going to talk about first. But before we do, anybody who is sensitive to discussions around suicide or alcoholism, I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to mute yourself or walk away. And for the rest of you, here we go. So on May 1, Mr. Grusch had to file a motion to try to force the Loudoun County Sheriff's Department to hand over the very same document that they released to Ken Klippenstein at The Intercept by subpoena instead of by special precautions taken for what are likely mental health and drug and alcohol records. And when I realized this was happening, I had to think, why would they not just hand this document over in the sanctity and safety of this lawsuit? Because it is literally the pen and the cog and the wheel of this entire thing. Well, I had to assume that it might be a bit of a death knell document, and I am convinced that that is exactly what it is. So what happened was that Ms. Grusch called the county sheriff's office for help. She was in fact scared. Mr. Grusch was intoxicated, and she told the county sheriff that there had been talk of suicide. And heartbreakingly, Mr. Grusch's response to her when she said this to him was that he had just been waiting on her to kill him. Well, after a big to-do and the involvement of the county sheriff, Mr. Grusch ultimately agreed to go to a facility called Cornwall, which is a behavioral health facility, by consent, not by court order, not by action of the county sheriff's office, on his own. So what we're watching here, from the first word to the last word, is literally a mental health and a drug and alcohol record that was entitled, in my humble opinion, to special precautions under the law. And that did not happen, and that is the crux of this entire lawsuit. But that's not all that's going on. On May 1, there was also a motion for about a demurrer, and you will recall a demurrer is a way to sort of test the pleadings in a case, simply said. The defendants, the Loudoun County Sheriff's Department, got in big trouble that day. They were not following the rules. They apparently set this motion unilaterally without talking to counsel or the court about it, and that is a big no-no. They also didn't follow the pleading rules. Lawyers have to plead very specifically, and you have to separate your allegations and you separate your defenses, and you file responses that are actually responsive to specific claims in orderly fashion. So not only did they not do it right, but they got their motion pulled off the docket. They're not going to have a hearing on it right now, and they have to completely redo their motion. Now, also on May 1, something else happened that I find fascinating, and that is that Mr. Grusch waived his right to a jury trial. At first, I was really surprised about this and even messaged Ryan, I don't understand why he would do this, because jurors can be very sympathetic and very empathetic. Lawyers and judges are very analytical, and so sometimes when there's a bit of a question between law and heart, jurors will push with heart to get to what they think is fair. But Mr. Grusch has now waived his right to a jury, so it will be a trial by judge, which is called a bench trial. I think maybe because of the receipt of this document, where it is so clearly, in my mind, a mental health and drug and alcohol record, that all Mr. Grusch's team thinks he needs is a cold, analytical eye of a judge with a legal background. So that happened. Then another motion is going to be set June the 2nd, called the plea and bar, which is another kind of motion to try to test the pleadings filed by Mr. Grusch. And then the trial, a short 72 hours later, is set for June 5. I think it might get continued. This is a whole lot of stuff that has to be done in a very short period of time, and two of these orders have also noted that the judge is going to want additional legal briefing in all likelihood. So I'm not sure it's actually going to go June 5, but I'm going to go June 5, and if anything good is going on, I'll be giving you updates. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
All right, there you go, guys. Our updates from Suzanne. Thank you so much, Suzanne, for that. And I can't wait. She's going to be there, guys, at the trial. So we'll see. Hey, say hi. Say hi. Say hi, baby. This is Layla. Say hi, Layla. Say hi. Oh, she's tired. Oh, yeah. Yeah, say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Oh, all right, guys. I got to get out of here and let these pups go outside. Yeah, you want to get down? Want to get down? Careful. There you go. Oh boy, that was scary. Yeah. So all this to say, I am so distracted. It's the pups. It's the pups. We have a lot to look forward to in the world of UFOs, whether we like it or not. I know I was a little harsh tonight. I did put a poll up over on YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and go to that and see what you guys ended up saying. Let's refresh here. And then I have a ton of people to thank. I asked the poll, is ufology dead? And our results were 13% of you said yes, 52% said no, 26% said never was, never will be, and 9% said not a thing. As in ufology is not a thing. Interesting. 52% of you, so more than half, believe ufology is not dead. It will never be dead. Never was, never will. 26% of you, the two biggest, were no and never will. And that's true. No matter how many times we think we have put ufology in that coffin, closed it up, put it 6 feet under, it always finds a way to come back in any form. So for those out there who say ufology is dead right now, it's not. It might just be trudging along with all this bureaucratic BS stuff going on. But I urge you guys, please go crack open a UFO book. You will be amazed at what you find in things like this, in things like this, in things like this, in things like this, and lastly, in things like this. Open a book. Read about a case, a strange, weird UFO case. I don't care if it's real or not. Use your imagination. Find the beauty in this topic, in the ambiguity of it all, like I do, and live in that mystery of the not knowing. We spend so much time trying to know what UFOs are according to the US government, which is the dumbest thing I can possibly think of. So that's really why I kind of, gave a lot of hate to the Congress stuff going on and the Elizondo and Grusch and all that stuff. They've been saying a lot of things for a lot of years, and we're no closer to any answers. And that's not their fault. Let it be known it is not their fault. It's just the way it is when it comes to this topic and the pursuit of truth within it. There may be no truth to the UFO question, at least not a truth that we have the right to know. We may have a right to know what the government knows about that topic, that mystery, but maybe we don't deserve the answers. Not yet, at least. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. Again, a very jam-packed show, a lot of distractions. So thanks for sticking around with me through all of that. It's been a lot of fun with you tonight. I want to give a special shout out and thanks once again to Paranormal Pixie, to Gareth Johnson, to Susan Alloway, to Lucy Kaplan, to the biologist, and to James Craig. Thank you. Thank you so much to all of you guys for the super chats and super stickers. I truly do appreciate that. And I appreciate every single one of you who tuned in tonight to listen to me blab on in my very rusty form. I'll be back in top form next week, I promise. But before we go, let me just make sure I didn't miss any burning questions here. Can't wait for next Sunday already. Oh, thanks, guys. Gareth said you forgot your own book. Yeah, check out my book, guys, if you can. You know what's really funny? Let me see if I can. No, I can't pull it up here. I went to an antique store here in my hometown today, and it's like 4 floors of the most coolest, beautiful stuff. And they have a ton of old books and stuff in like sections, the political section, war section, health section. They had a UFO and paranormal section. So I went to that, and lo and behold, the 2 first books in that stack of UFO books were the 2 versions of my first book. The one published by Richard Dolan and the one published by Beyond the Fray Publishing. It was mind-blowing. I almost bought them because I was so excited to see my books on a shelf, albeit at an antique store of all things. I almost bought them, but I'm like, you know what? Why? What's the point of me buying my own books at an antique store? Let it live on. Hopefully someone will find it curious, pick them up, give them a read, and find that burning curiosity and imagination within ufology that so many of us have. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So you never know what you're going to find in an antique store. I also found about 40 Ouija boards. I might actually go back this week and grab one of them because I've been doing a lot of Ouija board sessions, guys, and it is crazy. Story for another time, perhaps next week. But yeah, that's going to do it, guys. But before we go, I did want to let you know that we have a brand new podcast episode dropping in just a few hours for you. And it is with Gabriel McKee, who is an author and librarian. And he wrote the definitive biography on the one and only Gray Barker. So we're going to be talking to him about his brand new book, The Saucerian, UFOs, Men in Black, and the Unbelievable Life of Gray Barker. It was a fascinating conversation. I had a blast talking to Gabriel, and I know you'll have a blast listening too. So that'll be out on the main podcast feed very soon. It is already available to Patreon subscribers and Apple Premium subscribers. So if you want to listen to it right now early, you can do that by joining our Apple Premium. Just click the subscribe button at the top of your Apple feed or go to patreon.com/summerskies. You can listen to those right now. And I think that's it. We did it, guys. We did it. A very big thank you to all of our YouTube members, our Twitch watchers, our YouTube watchers, and all of you listening to this on the podcast in the future. If you can, please go to Apple or Spotify and rate and review the podcast. It helps us tremendously. Please, right now, stop everything you're doing. Go to Apple, write a quick rating and review. It takes just a couple seconds, but it makes a world of difference to us in getting us featured on these big podcast platforms. So thank you in advance for doing all of that. And yeah, you should be careful with Ouija. I know, I will be careful. I'm very careful. I've learned what to do and what not to do, how to open it, close it, clean it, cleanse it, whatever you want to call it paranormally. I got it. I got it, guys. I promise. Those were his last words. That's it. That's it for me tonight, guys. Thank you again to all of you for joining me. And I will see you next week for somewhere in the live stream. And yeah, I will leave you with our parting words as always. Keep your feet on the ground, but never stop searching somewhere in the skies. Take care.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.
A dispatch that quoted President Truman's press secretary, Charles Ross, as saying that President Truman has no knowledge of any secret project by this government that would give substance to the existence of such objects. Ross also said that both the Air Force and the Navy deny that such objects exist.